So we met up with Sunset Divers at Sunset House, and we loaded our gear on the boat and started getting it set up while we were heading out to do a wall dive. The BC that I was using on this dive was the Patrol BC. It's a new 2017 BC that Cressy just came out with. This was a, kind of a demo model that I did get here, and it's a little bit large on me, but I loved it. It's lightweight, it's just over 5 pounds. It has the integrated weight system, which is something that I definitely need. It's back inflation, which I also like. It's perfect for travel. Right after we jumped in at that first spot, we start heading down, and the first thing we see is a little tarpon. So we followed that tarpon around for a little bit before we ended up turning off and going down the reef to see what else was there. This was a very nice wall dive. I saw a lot of really neat things on this dive. One of my favorite things that I saw were like these big sea fan things, and I just can't remember off the top of my head the name of them. They're very similar to a sea fan, but they just kind of grow off the side of the wall of the coral. Just really, really neat. Awesome things to get pictures in front of, really cool looking on video. They also provide structure for a lot of little fish, so it attracts things to them. So the coral there was really nice. We saw some really nice brain corals and some other, corals that were there. There's such a big variety of corals, and again, I don't know the names of all of them, but there's this really nice color. They're soft and hard corals, tons of little fish, which is always a sign of a healthy reef. We saw some nice filefish, and we saw a turtle down there that was swimming around, which was kind of cool. It's always neat to see turtles. And of course, on that side of the island, on the west side of the island, you do see a lot of turtles because the turtle farm does release several hundred turtles every year into the wild there that they hatch out. So a lot of them stay around the island, so the divers do get to see those. So we were swimming along and we saw a tiger grouper, and they're usually pretty shy. They don't like you getting too close to them, but this one kind of swam at us and then it ducked away and went into a rock, and we thought that was the end of it, but we started swimming over another ledge and there was another tiger grouper. We actually saw 3 or 4 tiger groupers on this dive, and I love seeing tiger grouper because you don't see them all the time, and they're a really neat looking fish, and they don't get very big for being a grouper. Most grouper get pretty large. I think the world record on a tiger grouper is only like 15 or 16 pounds. It's not very big. So to see them over 5 pounds, that's a really big fish. And most of the ones that we saw were somewhere probably between 2 and 6 pounds. And they're real pretty. They're like brown and orange, just depending, on like their coloration. They'll change colors depending on if they're threatened or not. And most of them do, again, dart out of the way, but we had a couple that let us kind of follow them around a little bit and hang out with them. After leaving that tiger grouper, Luiza was coming in one of the fingers that kind of lead down to the wall. She was coming up it, and there was a big schoolmaster snapper that was letting her swim right up to it and right beside it, so it was kind of between her and the camera guy. And it's always neat to have a schoolmaster snapper let you get close as well, so you can tell these fish have been around divers, because a lot of times these fish don't want to be anywhere near you, and they were real friendly. And this is one of my favorite dives that I've done on a wall here in the Cayman Islands, because I've seen so much life on it. Seen a good variety of snapper and grouper and turtles and angelfish and just all kinds of other tropical fish. It's a dive that I would recommend asking for if you're going to be in the Cayman Islands, and to ask for a wall dive, because they have very nice wall dives here. And at Sunset House, they can put you on several different wall dives that are very close to the resort. Most of them are within a 5-minute boat ride, so you're very close to everything on the west side of the island. Also saw a couple cowfish on this dive, and a few French angelfish, which again are very common in the Cayman Islands. And we saw a barracuda, a small barracuda that was kind of hanging out by us. We saw a few others in the distance that weren't that close, but there was a little one that was kind of checking us out and letting us get close to it. So there was a good variety of fish on this dive as well.